Hi everyone, Pigzy here. Today I'm going to be showing you guys the first role of a Nano gang. This role's the most common one and most of your pilots will be in it. And this is DPS. I'm going to be showing the Caracal for this role. I might do some other ships later like the Osprey Navy or the Omen Navy. The Caracal is a great starting point. It's extremely cheap, coming in at about 30 million ISK, or my fit's even cheaper at about 24, and then you get about 5 million back from insurance. So whelping a few of these is no big deal. It's also a good place to start because it's fairly easy to run. You're using rapid light missiles, which can apply really well to everything. You got a 63km range. With this fit, you don't have to worry about any module management, except just turning on that Microwarpdrive. Pulling in over 300 DPS cold, and you're going to be going over 2 kilometers when you've got your prop mod on. This fit does sacrifice quite a lot of tank. You only have 20,000 EHP. It's because we're going to be using a cap battery, as well as a Nano and a power diagnostic. A more typical Caracal will be getting around 30,000 EHP, because you'll be getting rid of this cap battery for an adaptive inbon, and a damage control down here with an extra ballistic. It should look something like this Caracal. This is more standard, so you get positive 30, especially once you hit this. And you'll get an extra ballistic control system for a bit more damage. I think it's worth the trade-off for a Nano Gang style Caracal, mainly because of the cap stability. You can see I'm getting 5 minutes of cap out of this fit, and it's stable if I turn my point off. This is a pretty big deal because fights will often last a very long time in these Nano Gang situations, where if you look at a more standard Caracal, it runs out of cap in just about a minute, and that's pretty terrible. And that's if you're starting from full capacitor. The Caracal has pretty bad capacitor as is, so if you're warping around lots in a row, you're going to be at low capacitor at the start of a fight, and you might run out after about 3 or 4 pulses of your MWD, which is just not acceptable for this type of engagement. The Nanofiber also helps with your align time a little bit, so it takes you below 5 seconds. So a normal Caracal is going to have about 5-second align time plus, and the Nano Caracal will bring that align time down to 4.4. This doesn't seem like much, but it helps you get around regions a lot faster. And it's also a very critical second. Some cruisers will be able to lock you if you're 5 seconds or above before you warp off from a gate, and some won't. So I think it's worth getting that Nano in there, and that extra speed is also very useful. Gives you about an extra 200 meters, which again doesn't seem like a lot, but a lot of brawling cruisers can sort of catch you if you're about 1,800. But once you're going above 2k, you start to get a bit safer from a lot of those kind of ships. For ammunition, I just take the normal all 4 types and a bit of pace for repairing modules. It might be a bit excessive on pace, but take whatever you feel like. Mainly just going to be repairing your Microwarpdrive here. Heating your missiles on rapid lights, it's good, but it produces a lot of heat damage, and that's going to take a long time and be expensive to repair. The other thing to keep in mind is that heating on missiles just increases your rate of fire, it doesn't increase their damage. And since we're using rapid lights, you only have 19 shots in your clip, and then it's gone anyway. So overheating isn't as effective as it might be on other turrets. A trick that you can use with rapid light missiles, or any rapid missile system, is to turn your reload off. So after you've expended your clip, you're probably going to be warping off or going up to a ping. Then you can right click on your missiles and select a damage type that you want to use for the rest of the engagement, at least for the next clip. When roaming around, I usually load either my Scourge for kinetic or Inferno for thermal damage. It's because most ships have a medium tank against those kind of things, so it's a sort of in-between type damage type. If I know what I'm supposed to be shooting, or if I think I'm going to be up against a lot of shield frigates, then I load EM, and if I think I'm going to be up a lot of armor frigates, I load explosive. and you can certainly change to those during a fight. The other thing worth mentioning with this Caracal is because it's so cheap, it's cheaper than an Interceptor, which means you should have no qualms about just running in and killing an Interceptor, even if it might get you killed in a lot of cases. Obviously, don't do this if no one else in your team's dying, but if the battle's kind of over and you've lost it, you know, sometimes it's worth it just to trade risk. I'm going to take you guys into a couple of clips of me flying this Caracal, and I'll show you how I use it. In this first clip, we've been bumming around Brave Space for a while. I'm obviously the Rapid Light Caracal. A friend of mine's also in a Caracal. We've got a Vexor and then 1 or 2 frigates. It looks like we've got a Swivel on the other side of the gate here, so we go through the gate for him. So we know he's aggressed, so I'm going to go for him first. The first thing I want to do is get myself safe and away from anything that could scram me. So I'm going to MWD on, get away. But make sure that I'm going to be well within range with DPS on the Swivel. So I kind of chase him and go away from the gate as far as I can, in case anything comes behind us or something warps to 0 on the gate that could catch me. I can apply DPS from basically anywhere on grid because of that massive point range. So the massive missile range, but I am trying to keep point as well. I'll get some warriors out to apply some extra DPS. We've got some more brave guys warping in. Once the Swivel goes down, we'll call the Atron primary next because he's scramming a teammate, so he has to go. I turn back around for him. And then an initiative gang shows up and stuff starts to get pretty spicy. Because I walked away from a gate, burnt away from a gate, then this initiative gang can't catch me, so it's really important to always create space for yourself. And here you see I pre-aligned up as well to a ping. You want to pre-align as often as you can because your line time isn't too great, especially when your Microwarpdrive's on. And as I ping up, I also reload at the same time. And I MWD just to get off this ping in case somebody has it, which they probably won't, but you never know. And then I'm going to align back down to my friend who's in the Brawling Vexor. This is because he's probably going to get tackled. In fact, I think he sort of bait tackles here. He lets their gang get on top of him, so that we'll get him exactly where we want him. So we're just sort of waiting to see what they do. We don't want to run into them, we want them to run into us. And we've got combat probes out and they get a warp in on Jin, which is fine. I'm pre-aligned to him, so I warp down. I did warp, I think, at 0 here. Maybe I should have gone at 20 to avoid getting scrammed, but no one goes on me anyway. Because I'm in a bit of a shonky's position, I use my heat on my Microwarpdrive to get away. We call this Omen Navy primary. Omen Navies are usually quite squishy because they tend to be kitey ships, and we've got them scrammed, so even though there's other things we could frag off faster, it's a great opportunity to get a more expensive kill here. So I realize no one's chasing me, so I sort of turn around a bit here to start aligning to other things like the sun, and to be able to get a point on this Omen. Saber comes out at me. I thought he was going to tackle me and I was going to get screwed here, but I don't know what he was doing. I guess he wasn't paying attention. He just sort of coasts on past, so yeah, that's cool. So we decide to heat on the Omen here because things are getting pretty spicy. We need to finish this guy off and get out. We just barely to catch him as he's starting to rep. I think I hit him with my last set of missiles, and that finishes him off. And then I walk off to the sun where I'm again pre-aligned. Always pre-aligned. Some of my friends are on field, some of them are tackled, and some of them aren't. And I ask them on comms if I should come back, and they say that I shouldn't because there are way too many bubbles on field, and even if I ping up, there's just too many people and nothing left that we can really kill with our numbers. This next clip is just a simple roaming gang. Just got a couple of us again. We see a Procurer at the ice belt, so we go on after him. Land on top of him here and tackle him. There are a couple of other guys we've seen around. A couple of battleships and whatever floating around. So obviously you just want to get your DPS on him, tackle him, get your MWD on. in any kite ship, you really want to make sure you're not going to get anywhere near scram range. Procurers can be bait sometimes. You could have like a web and scram on them, and then their friends will decloak next to them, or something's going to warp in on top of you and kill you. So just set up a nice orbit, and it should be pretty simple to kill these guys. Obviously, you're going to get lots and lots of ganks, but sometimes they can lead to good fights as well. And this sort of leads to a decent fight, and I screw up in it, so I think it's worth showing. So as he gets low here, my missiles start to run out of their clip. This is a definite weakness of a rapid lights, and he manages to get his drones onto our carries even though he's damping. His Dominix is warp in, but they're 100 off. I don't quite know what they were doing. I kind of thought that they were landing at 0 when they were coming in, so I line up to this gate, and I'm not really paying attention well here. As you can see, everyone else is warped off, and I've already aligned out because I sort of panicked when those Dominixes came in. This is a huge mistake, because even if they landed at 0 on top of me, I've got a Microwarpdrive, so I can just burn away, and they shouldn't be able to scram me. I realise that I'm the only one left, and we haven't killed the proc because I'm on reload and no one else is here to do DPS. So I come back in on him, but I'm too late and he warps off. This Hawk guy has come in to try and get tackle on something, and you see as he's burning at me, right when he gets to about 30 kilometers or so, I start burning at a right angle. So this way I can still keep my point on him, but he's not going to be able to catch me. So he's an afterburner Pit Hawk, so I don't do too much DPS to him. And I think I have a wrong damage type loaded, but that's okay. I'm just going to hold point, and the friends and whatever will come in and we'll kill him. Even if you don't like ganking people because you think it's not good fights or whatever, I still think it's worth just warping to people and fighting them anyway, because other people always come in to save them, and they can lead to some really great fights. So this Hawk's totally screwed up. I don't really know what he was thinking. I don't know where his Dominixes went. But yeah, this is a kind of fight that's going to happen to you all the time. And down he goes. This clip shows how forgiving the Caracal can be. I made a huge mistake here by accidentally warping to 0. Meant to warp to a ping, and I kind of warp into a gang, and I'm going to get killed here. I know I'm going to die, so I try and trade my ship for an interceptor. Like I said earlier, your ship's cheaper than an interceptor, so it's a good trade. I sit on a gate, try to warp off, so some of them will aggress me. I get a couple of them aggressed here nicely, which is going to reduce their DPS that they can apply to me on the other side. So I jump through without losing much of my shield, and then I'm just going to try and burn off and kill whoever comes to tackle me before I go down. So I go up to a ping, I try and warp to it just in case. I probably should have gone for an overheat on my prop mod instead. I do get pointed here. I was a bit slow here, but it's okay. It's a very forgiving ship. And this Tyrannus comes in way too close to me to get a scram and a web on me. I overheat my stuff, get my warriors out, and blap them down pretty fast. This last clip's a really similar situation as the last one. My friends have already been on grid, and you can see some of them are already dead. I'm calling to them to ask who I should warp in on, but I can't get any solid information because they're too busy fighting. Swing's in an Orpheus, and I know he's tackled, so I think, okay, I'm in a cheap Caracal, it's worth going in just to try and weld myself to save him. By the time I warp in, though, it's kind of too late, but I do manage to pick off this Dramule here, and I do turn back in really aggressively to try and kill someone else. Because we're all dead and we're going home anyway, so I might as well get that ISK efficiency up, Thanks for watching this, guys. I'm going to be trying to do a video on each role in the Nano game. So the next one coming up will be Damps, I think. So that's probably going to be the carries and the Mollis. Thanks for watching.